Hello, everybody, and welcome to Final Play Sports Wrap. I'm your host, Pete Lubar, and today we're talking Big 12 basketball. The regular season is now concluded, and Houston has won the Big 12, not unexpected as they had a sizable lead with a week to go, but they finished strong and finished with a four-game lead in the conference over Texas Tech, who had a great season as well. And Arizona takes the third spot, BYU taking the fourth spot. BYU really had a strong end of the season, very hot. And then we'll bring up some of the other stats here in a minute, but some other news in the Big 12. Utah fired its coach, Craig Smith, allegedly to hire Alex Jensen, assistant coach for the Mavericks. We'll see if that in fact happens. He was allegedly given a contract 6 days ago, and obviously the money wasn't good enough or something was wrong, because I don't believe that it has been executed at this point. Arizona State is rumored to fire Bobby Hurley. Have not seen that yet, but they fired Natasha Adair, the women's coach, earlier last week. So there's a couple people that may have openings, and then I think that Tad Boyle, despite saying 2 days ago that he'll definitely be back next year, I don't know if he'll be back next year. I have a feeling that Colorado would like to have a Deion Sanders type person in the basketball program as well. Tad's not that guy. I don't know if this season, coming in last in the Big 12, is going to be good enough for him to retain his job. We shall see. We'll probably know that about Tuesday after they lose their first round game to whoever they play on Tuesday. We'll cover that in a minute. If you look at the conference standings, I mentioned Houston over Texas Tech. BYU and Arizona tied. Arizona beat BYU, I think, twice, so they have the nod on that. Iowa State came in fifth. Kansas 6th. West Virginia and Baylor tied. West Virginia gets the 7 seed and the 8 seed. And then TCU, Kansas State all tied 9-10. And then the rest of the teams here you can see. If you go back to what I predicted in the end of December, my midseason teams were... I picked Kansas first, Iowa State second, Baylor third, Houston fourth, Arizona fifth, Cincinnati sixth, and you can see the team I really missed on, Texas Tech. I picked them for 10th. They came in second. BYU 11th. They came in fourth. So I was not very good. Kansas was picked first. They came in sixth. I'm going to be better next year. I promise you guys that. But this year, I was not on my game for sure. If we look at what's happening from a conference championship, we've got games on Tuesday. So if the champion has to win, if they play on Tuesday, has to win 5 games. Very unlikely, I think, in this particular conference. I would think Houston, Texas Tech would be the favorites right now to win the conference. Both are playing excellent basketball, but we've got games. Oklahoma State is playing Cincinnati on Tuesday. We have TCU playing, I can't even read this, it's so small, Colorado. So Colorado season will probably come to an end against TCU. We've got, oh my God, this is an eye strainer for sure. Oklahoma State is playing somebody, and UCF is playing Utah. So, K-State is playing. K-State's playing Arizona State. So we'll see what happens. The winners will play Iowa. Iowa State's waiting in the wings. West Virginia, Baylor, and Kansas, and then the final 4 teams: BYU, Arizona, Texas Tech, and Houston will then play the winners of that and then they'll have the semifinals, and then the finals from there. So starts Tuesday, ends on Saturday, and should be really good basketball, as always, with the Big 12. From a bracketology standpoint, Lenardi has 8 Big 12 teams in the show. Palm does as well right now. Houston is a number 1 seed. Texas Tech is a 2 seed from Lenardi and a 3 seed from Palm. Iowa State is a 3 seed in both. BYU is a 5 seed. Palm has BYU as a 7 seed, so Lenardi a 5, Palm a 7. Arizona is a 5 seed by Lenardi, a 6 seed by Palm. Kansas has both Lenardi and Palm agree that Kansas is a 7 seed. West Virginia is a 9 seed. Palm has them as a 10, and Lenardi has Baylor as a 10 seed, and Palm as 11. So if you sort of focus on West Virginia and Baylor right now, West Virginia is a 9 or 10, and Baylor's a 10 or 11. And so if any one of those lose in that first round, or maybe even that second round, and there's some bid stealing going on, one of those teams may fall out. So my prediction all along has been 7 seeds, 7 positions for the Big 12. Right now they've got 8. We'll see if that holds. And then when you sort of look at the quad 1, quad 2 wins for those, I'm calling them bubble teams. Anyone who's a 10, 11, just outside, just inside is a bubble team. I'll bring them up, but Baylor and West Virginia, Baylor's a 5 and 11 in quad 1 wins, 5 and 1 in quad 2, so 10 and 12 in quad overall in quad 1, quad 2. They were 10 and 10 in their conference, 7th overall in the conference. Right now, Lenardi has them in the tournament. West Virginia, 6 and 10, 3 and 2, so total 9 and 12, 10 and 10. Lenardi has them in the 8th place in the conference in the tournament. But you look at someone like Boise State, who's the next one out, they didn't have as many quad 1 opportunities. They were 2 and 5. They were 4 and 2, so they were 6 and 7. It doesn't look a lot different than 9 and 12 to me. And 6 and 7, but they were 14 and 6 in conference and 5th in their tournament. CSU 1 and 5, so not many opportunities at all, but 6 and 2 in their quad 2, so 7 and 7. 7 and 7 looks pretty similar to what Baylor's got, and they're 16 and 4, came in second, and right now they're not in the tournament. So I think there's going to be some shifting here over the next week, and hopefully Baylor and West Virginia will be able to stay in the tournament field, but there's a good chance that they don't. And then we kind of look at sort of the bias that the Big 12 has this year, and if we look at quad 1 wins for, say, a Kansas, they're 5 and 10. They are 6 and 1 in quad 2, so 11 and 11. They came in 7th and 6th in their conference, and 6th in their conference, yep. And they are a 7 seed. New Mexico, 3 and 3, 10 and 0 in quad 2, so 13 and 3, a really stellar quad 1 and quad 2 record. Came in first in their conference, and they're a 9 seed. So there's some inherent benefits of being part of the bigger conference, and Kansas is certainly taking advantage of that. And I think West Virginia and Baylor are also getting some benefit from that. If we look at the conference players, and those have not been announced, all conference players, but my first team all-conference team now that we've gotten to the end of the season is J.T. Toppin, Hunter Dickerson, L.J. Cryer, Curtis Jones, and Saunders. And I took Cryer over Javon Small, not because he outscores him, but because he's the best player on the best team in the conference. And I would argue that him or J.T. Toppin as player of the year, I would go with Cryer as player of the year in the Big 12, just because, same reason, best player on the best team. My second team all-conference is Javon Small, Caleb Love, Norchard Omier, Keyshawn Hall, and Chance McMillan. And I dropped out from my mid-season predictions, Keyshawn Gilbert and Zeke Mayo. Not because they're not excellent players, but those teams weren't as good in the second half of the year, and those players weren't as good as the second half of the year. So, dropped them. My newcomer of the year is JT Toppin. He was simply fabulous, transferring in from New Mexico. Your coach of the year must be Kelvin Sampson, best coach on the best team. Defensive player was tough, but I'm going to go with Thiam Mustafa from UCF. And my sixth man is Curtis Jones. I would say if Cryer is not the player of the year, then Curtis Jones is the player of the year in the Big 12. So we'll update that as we go through the conference playoffs next week, and we'll see who's seated where in the NCAA tournament. We'll do another one of these drops right before that. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please subscribe to my YouTube page. It doesn't cost you anything, and helps me out. And other than that, I hope you all had a great weekend and a great day today, and take care, everybody.